affect the masses. There's no excuse. You've been loosed.
This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this show, on this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity. Clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. Listen, we've been on an amazing journey together. I want to welcome those of you who have been consistently tuning in, and I want to welcome the new viewers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you're here. Welcome to We the People, talking about our great nation, the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America, as represented by our beautiful flag and our beautiful presidential seal. All of this represents we the people, the 331 million of us that are in this great nation. And we have 210 million Christian Americans. That's powerful to me. And we have been on a journey together. I am so excited. I love this nation. I love my fellow Americans. And we have been diving into some things together to inform us, to educate us, to empower us, to bring understanding, to help us to understand together why we need to have structure and order and guidance, and why our taxpayer dollars need to support certain things. I cringed when I've had people tell me, we're not supposed to pay taxes. I'm like, baby, how are we going to pay for the 5 pillars, our senior citizens having their Social Security benefits always in place? How are we going to pay for our education of our precious children in the public schools? How are we going to pay for the interest on the national debt? How are we going to pay for health care through Medicare? How are we going to pay for the military? 5 pillars. 5 pillars. And it ties right in with the preamble of the Constitution. Go back and look at episode 136. It blew me away how God showed me, Janice, when the preamble of the Constitution was written in 1787, it fits with exactly how our nation is set up today with those 5 pillars. That blew me away. I got excited. I got more excited about America. So what we've been doing is we've been just dissecting and understanding. We looked at education during the month of November, dissecting that, all the dynamics thereof. The dictatorship that has a grip on it, we're praying about that, okay? And here in December, we're looking at our military. So we're going to continue this journey as it relates to our military. And tonight, with specificity, we're going to be talking about our military, the overseers, the managers, the executives of doing what? Protecting us. Because remember, our military is all about protecting us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. So who oversees that? Who manages it? How does this happen? Does this just, just flip a coin? Listen, it's a lot behind what our taxpayer dollars are paying for. I was like, wow, Lord, what was I thinking? I wasn't. I didn't have an understanding. Now I've got an understanding now, and it empowers me to have targeted prayer. And so can all of us in unity have this targeted prayer? And with all the dynamics of the military and safety and people being wounded and hurt and even dying, paying the ultimate price, it can evoke and elicit anxiety. So as we talk about the overseers, managers, executives of protecting us, and we, the people, being actively involved in that process, it reminds us of the power and the need for us to be praying for this. Now, in line with that, we've been talking about prayer, and you just get used to it because we're going to be talking about it more. Because in 2024, there are some powerful things that are going to happen that I'm right smack in the middle of. I'm so excited about. And more people, this is spreading across the nation because, listen, first of all, there are 210 million Christian Americans. Now, what we are working on together and solidifying together is 1 million voices arising. 1 million, a minimum. Now, out of 210 million Christians, Americans, we're believing for 1 million. So in terms of response of people that hear it, I'm targeting the 210 million because we want to get as many as possible to the Washington Federal Mall on October 12, 2024 for a massive, powerful, anointed voices arising in fasting, in prayer for our nation, for our military, our education system, our political leaders, our healthcare system, our elderly, our children, our nation, we the people, our churches, the leaders thereof. Wake up. We need you involved. We need you at the forefront of supporting this effort. The 1 million voices rising. Put it on your calendar. Let's have church together that weekend. It's going to be powerful. And I'm going to be adding on some things as we go in 2024. We'll get there. It's going to be powerful. So there are 210 million Christian Americans. We're going to get 1 million Mordecais and Esthers on October 12, 2024 as a part of the voices arising in our nation. Now, to do this, to get that accomplished, we're organizing prayer services in every state capital in our great nation on Saturday, April 13th, 2024. So all over the nation, it's growing, it's spreading. We have prayer groups that have already started, that are already established and are being established. I have my own prayer network. My prayer group is growing and it's spreading all over the nation. And what we're doing is we have a beautiful guideline. It's very structured. The system is beautiful how this is set up. And so what we're going to do, we're going to culminate with a massive prayer service on a day of fasting and prayer on Saturday, October 12th, 2024 at the Washington Federal Mall. But we're starting with April 13th, 2024 in all the state capitals across the nation. It's going to be a powerful day in our great nation. We're going to culminate with this massive prayer service on a day of fasting and prayer on Saturday, October 12th, 2024 at the Washington Federal Mall. So we got our state level, we got a federal, national level. So what I'm asking you to do is to join me. I'd love to meet you. I'd love on the state here in Oklahoma. I'd love to see you in the Capitol in our state capitol in Oklahoma City on April 13th. And I would love to see you in Washington, D.C. on October 12th, 2024. It's going to be powerful. And so I'm asking you to join me to establish your own prayer group. Yeah. To establish I'm going to be doing a lot of things leading up to this in 2024. You'll hear about them as we go. I want you to be a part of establishing your own prayer group, or I can point you towards being a part of a group that's already established in your area. And so you can contact me you see my information there on the screen, info@janicepons.com, info@janicepons.com, and I can get back with you, and I'm going to provide you with that direction that you may so desire. And so I'm excited. My attitude about the military will never be the same again as I've learned about the things that I have touched upon thus far. And it's just like, wow, God, I see how we can have, it's just like whoosh, like a Tommy Hawk going straight down the middle as far as how we can target our military in a powerful way. So tonight, let's move forward. We're going to talk about the overseers, the managers, the executives of protecting us, we the people. And from a clinical perspective, we're going to dive into that anxiety factor. Listen, our commander-in-chief, the president, is the head of our military. Wrap your mind around that. Yeah. Our commander-in-chief, our president, is the head. Now, our commander-in-chief appoints as part of his cabinet the Secretary of Defense. The United States Secretary of Defense is a really crucial, critical position. That person is the head of the United States Department of Defense, the executive department of the U.S. Armed Forces. Remember, the military's job is to protect us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. So it's a high-ranking member of our federal cabinet. The Secretary of Defense's position of command and authority over the military is second only to that of the president of our great nation, our commander-in-chief. This position, the Secretary of Defense, corresponds to what is generally known in other global systems as a defense minister. Now, here in our nation, the Secretary of Defense is appointed by the president with the advice and consent of the Senate. Now, we know from episode 136 that the Senate is a part of the Congress and all that. That's a part of our legislative branch of our government. We have the executive branch, legislative branch, and we have the judicial branch. So the Secretary of Defense, our legislative branch is involved in appointing and approving who that's going to be. It's a very important position. And this person becomes a member of the cabinet and by law is a member of the National Security Council. Now, guess who else is involved in the overseeing, the managing, and is an executive of protecting we the people? The Joint Chief of Staff. When I dove into this, I was like, God, I will never look at another State of the Union message the same again. I would see those decorated people sitting on the front row and they stand and it'd be 4 or 5 of them. And I knew they were the Joint Chief of Staff, but I didn't have a clue until just recently about what that was all about. The Joint Chiefs of Staff is the body of the most senior uniformed leaders within the United States Department of Defense, which advises the president, the Secretary of Defense, they advise Homeland Security Council, and the National Security Council on what? Military matters. So we're dissecting our military this month. Do we need brilliant people sitting at those tables? Do we need informed, highly trained, skilled, wise people at those tables? The composition of the Joint Chief of Staffs is defined by statute and consists of a chairman, a vice chairman, and the chiefs of the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, and Space Force, and the chief of the National Guard Bureau. Wow. Wow. Who are those people? Why do we need to be praying for them? Each of the individual service chiefs outside of the Joint Chief of Staff obligation, they work directly under the secretaries of their respective military departments. You have the Secretary of the Army, the Secretary of the Navy, the Secretary of the Air Force. Is this making sense? These are the people who are overseeing, managing, and the executives of doing what? Protecting us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And we got both. Now, here's something I learned. I was like, God, Jesus, thank you for helping me to understand. Let's look at this thing together. And I want to say, those of you who've served, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm a Blue Star mama. Thank you. I respect what you've done and what you do and continue to do. Our veterans, thank you. Those that are serving now, thank you. The United States National Security Council, that's a part of this whole overseeing, managerial, executive process of protecting us, is the principal forum used by the President of the United States of America for what? Consideration of matters of national security, military, and foreign policy matters. Where is it based out of? The White House. And it's a part of the executive office of the President of the United States of America. And it's composed of senior national security advisors and cabinet officials. You know what I learned? There's so much that I took for granted. So much. God, forgive me. Forgive us. We need to know these things. These people are serious folk. These are serious. I see these. I'll never look at those guys the same again. My honor, my respect, my concern, my care for those people went to an exponential other level. They are making some serious decisions. I want them to make decisions that's going to keep my son and all the other military personnel safe. My son loves serving. So our taxpayer dollars going towards our military dollars, it's critically important. So this is serious stuff, guys. When, we see them go over there and caskets come back and they're greeted by the heads of state. Serious matters, serious matters. One thing that I liked about President Trump is when they came in, he wanted to be there to greet them too. He was there with families. That blessed me to see that. He took being the commander-in-chief very seriously. I'm going to say this too. And I remember when they were talking about the Taliban, and I remember over in Afghanistan that we went 18 months with not one soldier dying in combat under the Trump administration. And he was talking about his interactions with one of those major leaders. And he told one of them, he said, look, I know. He said, listen, you're going to do what I said do, or there will be consequences. He said, what do you mean, Your Excellency? Huh? You called our president Your Excellency? Mm-hmm. He said, and you know what President Trump said to him? He said, I know your address. I know your address. And he said, yes, sir, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. We didn't have one soldier killed in combat for 18 months. Then we had the debacle that happened at the airport in Afghanistan and left billions of dollars of our military equipment over in Afghanistan, and thousands of those small arms ended up in Gaza in that conflict that's going on. It's on the news. I'm just talking about what happened. As my mama said, I'm just telling you what they told me in the news. Yeah, this is even on the mainstream media. Okay, So we're talking about our military. So I listen, we got to have people with backbone. Backbone. So all of this evokes and elicits anxiety. So you see why we need targeted prayer? Do you see why these prayer groups that are developing all over the nation, our goal is to have at least 250,000 prayer groups all over the nation. And it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. And remember, put that date down, April 13th, Saturday, April 13th, in the state capitals all over the nation, a day of prayer and fasting. It's going to be powerful. And then it's going to culminate October the 12th, 2024, on our Federal Washington Mall for a day of fasting and prayer. It's going to be powerful. So as we deal with the clinical perspective of anxiety, the anxiety factor, what do we need to be just considering? Listen, when I started a 30-day treatment program where 87% of people, and there are people said, just round it off to 90%. They told them, someone said, well, you know how to get 90% of the nation clean and sober and gainfully employed. Okay, praise God. 87% of the people were clean and sober and gainfully employed 6 months after completing a 30-day program that I put together. It was powerful. To God be the glory. But there were techniques related to anxiety. Anxiety is a trigger to relapse. Anxiety is a trigger to make wrong choices. So what can help us? We got to get grounded. I had those people. Grounding was a part we would eat, sleeping, and breathing, getting grounded, as well as other things. Grounding. What are some grounding techniques that work for them that they continue to do 6 months later when they were clean and sober and gainfully employed? Here's one. The 5-4-3-2-1 method of grounding is designed to manage acute stress. We all stressed out, but it's designed to manage it, the stress, and to reduce anxiety. So it involves identifying 5 things you can see. What do you see? I can see the presidential seal. I can see my desk. I can see the paper. I can see the stand. I can see the microphone. I can see my production team. 5 things that you can see when you're overwhelmed, when you're stressed out. Say it out loud. What's 5 things that I can see? 4. What are 4 things that you can touch? It grounds you. What are 3 things that you can hear? I hear the rain. Do you hear the thunder? Do you hear the chair squeaking? 3 things you can hear. It redirects you. What are 2 things you can smell? What is 1 thing that you can taste? 5-4-3-2-1 method of grounding. What would happen to our great nation as we support and undergird and help each other to walk in peace? And sometimes more because of what people have been exposed to and the stresses that they are under. Some have unprocessed, unresolved trauma. They are anxious and it's off the charts. And see, you add on this military piece and the uncertainty and unsafety and all this drama that's going on in our country. Do we need to get grounded? 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise. Here's another one. The 5-5-5 rule for anxiety. 5-5-5. Deep breathing. When you breathe in, slow through your nose, breathe in at least 5 seconds. Hold it. At least 5 seconds. Exhale it for 5 seconds. Make sense? Now for me, I do something called breathing prayers. Breathing prayers, where that 5 seconds in, it's like, Father, I thank you for a peace that passes all understanding. Hold it for 5 seconds, and Father, I cast all my cares upon you, for you care for me. Let me tell you what, I have seen people that were having full-blown panic attacks totally back out of it. I was blown away. What was that about, Lord? He said they got extra oxygen to their brain. They massage the palm of their hand. This is called the palace of anxiety. It's a pressure point. There's nothing hokey about this stuff. God designed our bodies beautifully. It's called reflexology. There are pressure points in our hands. There's pressure points in our feet. Massage your own feet. It'd be good if you got somebody to massage them for you. Go get a foot massage. Massage your own feet. It helps you to get grounded. It can help with stress. You can continue that process until your thoughts slow down and you notice some relief. Now, in general, how to ground yourself, think about it. Breathing, the mantra. Prioritize your physical wellness through sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Go to bed. Go to bed. You gotta get sleep, guys. Nutrition. You can't just eat Twinkies and live off of Twinkies and that kind of stuff and expect to feel good. We have to give fuel to our body that's nutritious. And exercise we're getting, if it's nothing but walking, if it's stretching. I just started a regimen this week where I stretch every morning, holding on to the doorknob and stretching this part of my trunk. I want to stretch back and then stretching down, stretch. And dental hygiene, exercise, good nutrition, brush your teeth, floss your teeth, use those go-betweens, floss your teeth every day. Keeping your teeth in your head the rest of your life. There are observable, measurable things that we will do to help facilitate that process. What is it? It helps us get grounded. When I'm flossing my teeth and doing the go-betweens and I dip them in Listerine, I'm grounded. It's like, because I know I'm doing something good. It's wonderful. Self-care helps to ground us. Get out in nature. Go out and look at the flowers. Go walk barefoot. That's a grounding technique when your bare feet are touching the grass. I love doing it on the ocean. Whole other flow. Music. Oh, my God. I started adding on. I go on YouTube. I type in relaxing Christian music. It's 12 hours of it. Ocean waves and this beautiful instrumental music that I go to sleep to. And I wake up 5 hours later. The only reason I seem to wake up is that I need to get up and go to the bathroom because I've drank so much water. That's another one. Drink water. Get grounded. You got to keep yourself hydrated. And it's like, wow, Lord, this is so good. What am I doing? Self-care. And I'm getting myself grounded. Do something soothing and tactile. Massaging your hands, massaging your feet, massaging your temples. Yeah, getting a massage. Rotating yourself. Stretching yourself. Here's another one for grounding. Avoid catastrophizing. I don't hook up with the catastrophizing. People go there, they start verbalizing the worst. Catastrophizing. Stop it. Do that thought-stopping technique when you're doing that. Stop. Just stop there. So I was with someone today, they were doing that. I said, stop. I'm not going there. Now, you can go there all you want to, but I'm not going with you. Because it's unfruitful. Now, if you want to go there, that's fine. Have at it. But I'm notifying you. I want to respectfully notify you. I'm not. Avoid catastrophizing. And when you do that, you get a different perspective. We get a different perspective. And lastly, in terms of this anxiety factor, identify your circle of control. What can I control? I can't control it all. But I tell you what I can control, I can pray. I can control what comes out of my mouth, and I can control what I'm going to hook up with. I'm looking to hook up with some powerful believers. I'm looking to hook up with people that say, God is not done with this great nation. I am looking to hook up with my fellow Americans. I know it's at least 210 million Christian Americans. What would happen if we unify and pray? And this is exactly what's going on. 2024 is going to be powerful. Listen, God is not done with us. So therefore, he's not done with America. Listen, what have we looked at tonight? We're dissecting our military this month. It's one of our 5 pillars in our great nation. Do our taxpayer dollars need to undergird, support, this structure, this order that protects we the people as represented by our flag and our great seal? Do we owe it to our soldiers, our military overseers, our managers, the executives who are charged with protecting us? Do we owe it to them to make sure that the money is there to protect what they're called to do? I would say so. So what we've done tonight, and we're going to continue on our journey next week. Next week is going to be very powerful. I learned some things that I knew not of, and I was like, wow, Lord, thank you for that knowledge, because we're going to dive more into why our taxpayer dollars need to be protecting us as we the people, as we go from destruction to dignity. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation. A new nation. We are God empowered. Strength is ours. Liberty, been set free. Education, affirmation.